Good evening, listeners. This is Bless Radio. It's Tuesday evening and it's just gone past 6 p.m. UK time. This is Bless Radio, as I say, and it's the spiritual discussion program. I'm Saad in Southeast London, and with me, as usual, is Gregory. Gregory, how are you and how's the weather where you are?
One is fine. It is damp, dark, cold.
Right. So, yes, here in London, it is also dark. It has been damp, but I will say chilly and cold, that's correct. And even it was freezing a few days ago. So you can definitely tell winter is here. We have entered December. So it's not a surprise up here in the, you could say, northern in Europe and so on. So welcome listeners to this spiritual discussion program. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail message by Uprushing. And we have a topic for discussion every week. The topic tonight is the coming of the Son of Man. The coming of the Son of Man. If you have any questions or any comments, you can contact us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And there's another way you can contact us, which is on our website, blessradio1.com, which is where we are broadcasting from. If you go to the home page, there's if you go down, scroll down a little bit, you'll see a Bless Chat box. So you can contact us on that through the website with any questions or comments as well. I'm going to begin with, what is the Grail message? The Grail message in the light of truth by Uprushing is a spiritual knowledge of life. It offers an explanation of the world, a picture of creation on the basis of natural laws. Its lectures contain valuable basic elements as a help in life. For through the knowledge mediated, the reader is again brought closer to life and led back to God. The Grail message deals with important fundamental questions of life by explaining in a clear and logical way the automatic working of the laws of nature, the whole weaving of creation, allowing every process to be recognized and thereby the purpose of our whole life. It is directed at the individual and speaks to the innate experiences of the human being, their strengths and weaknesses. Thus, every reader has the opportunity to discover, through the intuitive perception, if what is stated is the truth. Combining with matter-of-fact reasoning, a complete world picture arises, where there is no separation between the visible world and the great world beyond the five senses, nor any separation between scientific and religious striving for knowledge. I'd like to give you a couple of quotes from the author of the Grail message, Uprushing. The hearer and reader of my lectures should always work within himself, keenly probing and building bridges from one lecture to the other, as well as out into the great and small world happenings. Only then will he be able to understand the Grail message and find that it gradually shapes itself into one complete whole without leaving any gaps. Again and again, in all the happenings, the reader will come back to the basic features. He can explain everything without having to change even one single sentence. The word of the Grail message lives, so that it permits only those people who really carry the honest desire in their souls to find abundantly. All else is automatically rejected by it. For the arrogant and those who seek superficially, the message will remain the book with 7 seals. And I'd like to give you one more quote from the author. I wish to fill the gaps which have so far always remained unanswered in the souls of men, and which never leave any serious thinker in peace, if he earnestly seeks for the truth. So, dear listeners, just to remind you, the topic we're discussing tonight is the coming of the Son of Man. If you have any comments or questions, you can contact us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. Gregory, as you know, I always like to look at the meaning of the words in our topic in the dictionary, and I'm not sure it can be so helpful this time round. In fact, I will say it was cannot really help, but because this is completely a spiritual terms that we are talking about here, spiritual events. So, and the dictionary is not really, how can I say, focused on so much spiritual things. So, any case, I still will continue with the first word. Okay, anyway, which is the main keyword in the first word is coming. So I looked it up in the dictionary and I found out it says an arrival or approach. And the example they give, the coming of a new age. So, Gregory, is that meaning useful for our discussion?
The meaning, as usual, they are helpful as long as one doesn't take these meanings to be the whole thing. These meanings or these words are pointers. So from that framework, in realizing that these words are pointers, one may have an idea of where they are pointing to. So it is helpful.
Right, thank you for that. And before I continue, some people who are listening tonight may be thinking, oh, the term Son of Man, we have never heard of it. It's like, it's not a common term that they are aware. So, yes, I can understand that. And then there's others who may have heard of this term Son of Man before. And probably they've heard it from the Bible, Old Testament, and even in the New Testament. So, so that's, I will use that meaning or reference rather, for my where I'm getting the, instead of using the dictionary meaning, because it doesn't really tell us anything in the dictionary, because you can say in dictionary doesn't consider this way. So I want to go there, as I say, to the Bible. And what I want to say is, in my research, I found an article which I should really make a reference to that. If I can just check that. Maybe I'll come back to that in a second. Well, it's, let's say, from a Christian website. Doesn't mean we are endorsing that or not. It's just somebody has done their own research and they've come with their own sort of their meaning from that. So in any case, the Son of Man, they say, is frequently referred to in the Old Testament, where the term is likened to a man, i.e. a human being. And yet there's also reference in the Old Testament, in Daniel 7 specifically, where it seems to refer to Son of Man will come in the, if I just say it briefly, the Son of Man will come in the clouds of heaven, in the Ancient of Days and judgment. He rules creation. He rules creation and he's been given dominion over all peoples. His kingdom will be everlasting and never be destroyed. So there's, as I say, references in the Old Testament to the Son of Man, where in one case, or in those some cases, it looks like, oh, this is a man, a human being, and yet in another case, it is someone coming from heaven who rules creation. So, and we, let's say, even the word divine or God can come into that he's the ruler. So there's this meaning, references given like that. And then I want to mention in the New Testament, again in the Bible, Jesus refers to the Son of Man as well. So what I think I will do, I think I should read some of these references to give us a little bit of background, and then we can really, see where it leads us, and Gregory, then we can base that, start with that as a starting point, and then we can, explore that. So just give me a moment, please, to just find some reference before we continue. So just give me one moment, and apologies for this. Gregory, while we're just looking for that, is there anything you want to say about the Son of Man before I find these references?
Well, I thought wanted to respond to questions rather than
yes.
Just say something. I await the questions. Thanks.
Sure. Okay. And apologies, listeners, for this delay. I just need to find the right reference before I continue. So, oops. Okay, so let me just, the source of this reference, just to tell you, the website is called thegospelcoalition.org, and they are claiming Jesus Christ, the Son of Man. That's how they've titled it. So, as I say, we are not going to declare that. We will explore what they're saying, and then, come with our, let's say, as we say, Gregory, we always look at the laws of creation to make sense of what, that's what our foundation to understand something. So, okay. Right. Right. So this is a summary I'm going to read from this website. While the expression Son of Man occurs frequently in the Old Testament as a synonym for man, the book of Daniel also uses it to refer to the coming of divine ruler who will be given authority and a kingdom by God. Both of these usages form the background of Jesus' own self-designation as the Son of Man. We understand how this Son of Man will reign in his kingdom. And then, by the way, that Jesus himself takes up the authority given to him by God to rule, namely in his suffering, death, and resurrection on our behalf. So I'm going to stop there, and I now want to actually go to the reference, because that is really, you could say, the the author's who's written this website article has own understanding. And I'm going to take this reference now. Just one moment. Right. So this is from the Bible, book Numbers, chapter 23, verse 19. God is not man that he should lie, or a son of man that he should change his mind. Has he said, or will he not do it? Or has he spoken, and will he not fulfill it? So this is in the Old Testament, and one example there that's given there. And I want to now use something from Daniel. Okay, sorry. Just give one more example like that, which is now this time is from Job, chapter 16, verse 21. So give me. Okay. So as I said, this is Job chapter 16. I think I'm going to read a bit more. This one doesn't seem to refer to the Son of Man as I was expecting, so apologies for that. Let me go back here. Okay, this is David reflecting on his reflection on creation. When I look at your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars, which you have set in place, what is a man that you are mindful of him, and the Son of Man that you care for him? So, Gregory, I'm going to just repeat those couple of quotes from the Bible. Numbers chapter 23, verse 19, God is not human that he should lie, not a human being that he should change his mind. And, excuse me. So, yeah, Gregory, I'm sorry I haven't read those quotes very clearly, but there, in these references, it seems that the Son of Man is like a human being. Is that what we are meant to, is that the really say the correct understanding for this term Son of Man?
Well, thanks for that particular question. There's always been confusion when these expressions are used. There are two aspects. The first aspect is that which is limited to the intellectual interpretation of what has been said. The second aspect is the non-intellectual. That means that which is more intuitive, which is more spiritual. From these two perspectives, one may try to provide answers. The perspective of the intellect is narrower because it will take the features which are very well known to the human personality, those features which accord with the five senses. So anything which is above the five senses, you find that does not really fit in with that which the people of the intellect hold as sacred. The other perspective, that which is more intuitive, that gives a more rounded framework of these concepts. It is the concepts which we hold deep within ourselves that tend to open the way or block the way to our understanding of these expressions. As with everything, all expressions which have been passed down, these expressions must be weighed. These expressions must be examined. That means they must be weighed and examined in accordance with the laws of nature, or more precisely with the laws of creation, through which paths all that exists came into existence. Because that's a broader framework. When this is mentioned, one must also very calmly understand that motion is a law in creation, because there's motion everywhere, in our thoughts, in our intuition, in the objects which we are able to interact with, and even those we are not able to perceive with our five senses, they are also in motion. So motion is ubiquitous. And as has been explained many times, again and again, in that motion, there is the motion in which the end of the motion flows back to the beginning. And the other one in which the end of the motion does not flow back to the beginning. These are fundamental. Each personality must examine these features very carefully. For out of these features have arisen the laws of nature or of creation, and these laws which are consistent in all activities. That means they do not vary. They have always been there. In fact, it is these laws that condition the happenings in creation. That means whoever makes a decision as a personality, these decisions are subject to these laws through which the personality came into existence. With this background, it becomes very clear that there must be consistency. Some of the passages we've read out makes it very clear. There must be consistency. That means you cannot say today this is the law, tomorrow it's changed again. The question you were asking, is this Son of Man a human being? It is quite simple to answer such questions, but because we need to examine from all sides, then one has to present a response to such that many a listener will make their own conclusions. Question is, what is a human being? All that you see in flesh and blood, there are the plants, One might refer to the plants of nature, then the animals, and then we have man. So when one hears the Son of Man, and the next question is the Son of Man a human being? That which is referred to as a human being, first is a being. It means one is referring to the humanness. It also means there are some who might be here, but are not human beings. That many a person has a human form doesn't mean that that person is a human being, because the human being needed to experience started as an unconscious spirit germ, that means the human being on earth, and then gradually in maturing becomes self-conscious, conscious of its surrounding, and then in cultivating the talent within it becomes self-conscious. That again does not mean that the Son of Man, whom is referred to here, is a human being. A simple example one would like to give: ever before man set foot on earth, ever before man set foot in the world of matter, the world of matter was being prepared. If we narrow it down to the physical universe that are perceptible to the five senses, they were beings that were responsible in the preparation. It doesn't mean that these beings were human beings. In fact, they were not human at all. But there were those who were responsible in the preparation. And then when one comes to the earth, there were those who were responsible in the preparation of this earth. When one considers all these activities, then the question will arise within the human personality: where does this power come from? And who are these who are responsible for the preparation? Do they do this work in an arbitrary manner? These are the questions we should prompt the human personality. And therefore, since we can easily deduce that the power which is responsible for motion has a source, also the power which is responsible for motion has parts. One of the parts, or one of the features, is that it is not arbitrary. It means it is consistent, which has been read out in biblical discussions. And therefore, these particular parts may be considered as responsible. Therefore, the responsibility is personal. So there is the source of this power, which power enables motion. Just as the power is personal, so also the motion is personal. It is in accordance with these laws of motion or laws of creation. It is these which we need to examine. So there is the power, there is this power which is personal. However, when one is talking about motion, there are contents that make up motion. These contents must have forms. It is these forms that may also be considered. These forms are not arbitrary. Therefore, these forms, there is one that one may easily say personalizes the contents, that which is used to create forms. So that one may refer to as substantiality. So we can already see or build up a concept of the power, a concept of substantiality, and also the concept of the lawfulness, which is not arbitrary. These three concepts, these three are personalized. And that gives the strongest impression of the three persons. And that is why one is saying they are personalized. In that case, one can already form the picture of him who is. There has been no past tense, because him who is has not changed. And that personality that is and forms motion, which motion is not arbitrary, that personality is what is referred to as the Son of Man. You are mute.
Thank you, Gregory. I didn't realize I was on mute. Yes, thank you for this answer, Gregory, where you've given like a broad picture of the conception of the Son of Man, as a, covering, let's say, if I can say from top to the bottom, meaning that you can see that someone can appear as a human, someone can be, let's say, one of the beings, and we're talking about the coming of the Son of Man. So it's a journey. They are coming from a particular place, and they're coming. Where are they going to? So we are going to explore all that. It's really quite a, how can I say, detailed story. We will aim to cover it. I really hope we can do it in this show tonight. I'm not sure if we have all the time to do that, but let me just let the listeners know you're listening to Bless Radio. It's the Tuesday evening spiritual discussion program. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail message by Abdrushin. If you wish to know more about the Grail message or want to get a copy of the Grail message for yourself, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that, www.grail, G-R-A-I-L, message, MESSAGE.com. And tonight's discussion is about the coming of the Son of Man. If you have any questions or comments, you can contact us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 004479 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And also, there's another way you can contact us, which is from the website where we are broadcasting, which is blessradio1, that's the number 1.com. If you go there, if you scroll down the homepage, you'll see a box called Bless Chat. You can contact us through that chat box. So, as I mentioned, we are broadcasting on Bless Radio 1, the number 1.com. We are also broadcasting on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box, Bless Radio, again, the number 1, space, live stream. That's for the live show. You can listen to the recording of this show also on YouTube the next day. Go to youtube.com, type in the search box, Bless Radio 1, again, the number 1 there, space, Grail message, space, the topic of the show, which tonight is the coming of the Son of Man. And of course, you can listen to our previous shows also on YouTube. Thirdly, we are broadcasting on Zeno, that's ZENO.FM/Bless Radio 1. Again, that's the number 1 there. Now, Gregory, as you've clearly shown, this topic requires, how can I say, I'll use the word patience and some concentration and spiritual sort of grasping of, well, quite a wide range of spiritual conceptions to arrive at the, as you say, consistent and the right, understanding of the concept or even the event of the coming of the Son of Man. So I started with this question about, is the Son of Man a human being? And you pointed out that, well, somebody can come in the form of a human being, but they don't have to be necessarily a human being just because they have all the features of the human being. So that's in a way a hint, I would say, to everybody that maybe the Son of Man is not a human being, but can come in that form of the human being. So that's a clue there. Now, I would like to read, because I didn't read this yet, from in the Old Testament, from Daniel chapter 7. Now, just excuse me for a second before that I can make sure I have it ready. that I can read that, because this, in a way, just give me a second to make sure I've got it. Yes, here we go. Right, so this is in Daniel chapter 7, and it starts with verse 13. And I just want to make sure I have it right in front. So this is Daniel speaking. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days. They brought him near before him, and there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit, in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me, and made me know the interpretation of the things. I'm going to stop there, because I don't want to get, how can I say, into too much details and specifics, because the focus tonight is about the Son of Man, the coming of the Son of Man. So Gregory, in this words that I've read from the Old Testament from Daniel, he's had a vision there, which has troubled him actually. So now it's a vision of the Son of Man, or he said like the Son of Man came. So, but that vision, Gregory, it looks like it is happening in heaven. So what I would like to clarify, Gregory, this coming of the Son of Man, is it in heaven? Is it on the earth? Yeah, what is it? What is this coming of the Son of Man?
When you read that passage, it said it was a vision. Which vision is peculiar to the one who is able, or it was peculiar to Daniel? Being peculiar to Daniel, it said he was troubled. If it were clear to him, and he is very certain of what is to happen, maybe he will not, it will not trouble him. So this particular vision is peculiar to him. And it also depended on his maturity. One should never forget that depending on the receptivity of the individual, you will find that that which is intuitive is more extensive and even more precise than that which is restrictive. That means if many a person tries to interpret that vision intellectually, then you will find challenges, which is part of what Daniel was going through, was troubled by it. Your question now, if one considers it, did it happen in heaven? The question again must be examined very carefully, because many only consider things either it is heaven or it is on earth. All other areas are pushed aside, forgetting that that which we call heaven, or which we refer to as heaven, has always existed. It is not transient. So it is. And because it's not transient, that is in the divine echelon or kingdom, or in the spiritual, that has always been. And a personality that embodies motion, a personality that embodies the laws of creation, has always been there. His will is what is referred to as the laws of creation, of which the world of matter is also a part, albeit transient. So, that word coming only appears for those who are just waking up. For this will has always been there. This will rules creation. This will rules the world of matter. But we shouldn't forget that the human personality has a free will to decide whether to be asleep or to be awake. If it strives to be awake, that means it also must be in motion and make decisions in accordance with this creative will that granted it the opportunity. In the process of being awake, it appears to it that him who is just manifesting to him. That means he is coming. He's always been there. It is we who are maturing, who are just waking up from our slumber. It is we who are just perceiving. In our perception, which is proportional to how much we are awake, we perceive him coming to us. Whereas it is we who are waking up to the realization that he himself, through whom creation came into being, has always been there. So these dreams or these visions must be interpreted very carefully, must be interpreted in accordance with the laws of creation through which we, as human or budding human personalities, came into existence. Yes, it might sound or it might seem that he is coming to us when you look at from the human side. But to be more precise, it is we who are just waking up from our slumber, And in waking up from our slumber, we are able to perceive a happening. Oh, he's just coming to us. But to make it more understandable from the human standpoint, they see that he himself is coming to us. There must be a separation between the personality through whom creation came into being and the manifestation of his volition. It is the manifestation of his volition which the human personality perceives as is growing in maturity, as is growing in self-consciousness. It is that manifestation of this divine volition or of the spiritual volition that the human personality perceives in its bid to become self-conscious. And that is why you have such an interpretation, which interpretation also worried Daniel.
Thanks a lot, Gregory, for your answer there. What you're pointing to is that every person sees things, from their own angle, and it doesn't mean just because they see something that they have understood what they are seeing. And in a way, you can say something that is very high, let's say heavenly, when a person on the earth is seeing it, they can't, get it immediately. Oh, that's what is happening. They need to sort of, I don't know how to use the right words, but picture it, you can say, to see what that means, And in fact, Gregory, when I was reading that section from Daniel 7, chapter 7, because Daniel didn't understand it, but he asked someone that was near to explain it to him, that is this true? And then through that help, he was able to understand. So it shows automatically, it shows there that, yes, something in heaven that is happening in heaven, and Daniel, who is receiving it as a vision on the earth, he still need help to really realize it, to understand it. So, it just makes sense that it takes, it needs that effort. So thank you for that. Now, I just want to continue, Gregory, with a few more quotes from the Bible. Let me just find this one. It's Matthew chapter 19, verse 28. Let me make sure I've got it here. Right. Okay, and yes, I will just read it, and I think I'm going to read out a few of these quotes from the Bible, just to give examples where the Son of Man has been mentioned. So this one says, this is Matthew chapter 19, verse 28, and Jesus said unto them, verily I say unto you, that you have followed me, in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit on the throne of his glory, you shall also sit upon the 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. So let me just stop there, and now I'm going to read another quote. This time, it is Matthew chapter 24 to 31. And this is, I haven't got the context fully here. Oops. Just give me one moment, please. Apologies, listeners, I had to deal with something there. So this is from Matthew chapter 24, verse 29 to 31. Immediately after the distress of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from the sky, and the heavenly bodies will be shaken. Then will appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then all the peoples of the earth will mourn when they see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with the power and great glory. And he will send his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of the heavens to the other. So this, what we have just read, this is Jesus speaking, and it seems to be very close, well, similar to what Daniel's vision seems to be. And it's a reference again to the Son of Man there. So there we see that. And I have one more reference I would like to use, and that is Matthew chapter 25, verse 31. Let me just make sure I have it. 25, 31. And it's the title, The Sheep and the Goats. When the Son of Man comes in his glory, all the angels with him, he will sit on his glorious throne. All the nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate the people from one another, as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. He will put the sheep on his right and the goats on his left. Then the king will say to those on his right, Come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me. So again, there's a reference from Jesus about the coming of the Son of Man there. So Gregory, from what I've read there, could you put, what I'm saying is Daniel saw that vision, and now Jesus is talking about the Son of Man too. And it seems very similar, I must say. Could you give a bit of context there, Gregory, of this? Like I said, we are talking about the coming of the Son of Man. So what is this happening here that Jesus and Daniel are talking about?
The coming of the Son of Man, as has been mentioned in the writings of Matthew, some of which is not precise, is such that there is a figure of speech which is used to make it more understandable. When he said, I was hungry and I was in prison and you came to visit me, and these only refer to the figure of speech of those who received of the blessings, the radiation blessings, made use of it for themselves, and they passed it on to those who needed it. And in passing on these radiations, these blessings, it brought also light and blessings to others. So, in accordance to the law, whoever receives of the blessings made use of these blessings not only for his own benefit, but also passed it on to others such that it will benefit them. That is how light spreads. Therefore, those are the ones who fulfilled in accordance with the will of the Lord Almighty, of which the Son of Man is the personality, is the will. So, when one considers that, like sheep that had followed the good shepherd, on the other hand, you have the goats who, in their stubbornness, refused to follow the hints given. And if the hint is not followed, in that what they themselves have received, they have kept it to themselves only and not share it with others, then that becomes like a pressure deep within them, which pressure forces them down, which pressure pushes them away. That in itself is more like a judgment. For they have violated the laws of creation through which they themselves came into existence. So these things must be seen from a higher standpoint. Just as Jesus himself, who in his personality, though he had the human form, but deep within him is divinity unsubstantiated. Yet he had the human form. By his works, we are able to recognize him, where he stands, his origin. In the similar way, by the works of the Son of Man, we should be able to recognize him. The work in the light of truth, the Grail message, will serve as a helper to enable the personality who examines rigorously to recognize him.
Thank you very much, Gregory, for that answer. You mentioned there about the judgment, which, let's say, in many teachings we have been told about. So that is a special moment, something special will happen in that judgment. Obviously, there's a separation, you could say, from the good and the right, the good, righteous, and the, you could say, the non-righteous. And so that is, in a way, you might think, oh, this is a time we are fearing, but also it could be a time for joy if we are the ones who are, being righteous. So but that is the moment that this coming of the Son of Man is talking about. So we will go further into that. I just want to remind the listeners, you're listening to Bless Radio. It's the Tuesday evening spiritual discussion program from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail message by Abrushin. And if you wish to know more about the Grail message or want to get a copy of the Grail message for yourself, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that. www.grail, Grail, message, MESSAGE.com. And you're listening to Bless Radio, as I say. The topic we are discussing tonight is the coming of the Son of Man. If you have any questions or comments, you can contact us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And another way you can contact us is the website where we are broadcasting, which is blessedradio1, that's the number 1.com. If you go there on that homepage, if you scroll down, there's a chat box called Bless Chat. You can contact us with any questions or comments on there as well. And as I mentioned already, we are broadcasting on Bless Radio 1, the number 1.com. We are also broadcasting on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box, Bless Radio 1, that's the number 1 there, space live stream. That's for the live show, which is on Tuesdays between 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. And of course, you can listen to the recording of this show the next day, also on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box, Bless Radio 1, that's the number 1 again, space, Grail message, space, the topic of the show, which tonight is the coming of the Son of Man. And of course, you can listen to our previous shows as well, also on YouTube. Thirdly, we are broadcasting on Zeno, that's zeno.fm/Bless Radio 1. That's the number 1 again. Now, Gregory, now we've had some quotes from the New Testament where Jesus, you could say, predicted the Son of Man. But we also have quotes of Jesus from the Bible where it appears when he talks about the Son of Man, he's referring to himself. Even though we've just had quotes now referring to somebody else. So obviously, and I'm going to quote some of them, and then people can get confused, and they don't know which one would they have, which is correct for them. They would not understand it, because, as I say, you can read it one way. Well, it's not only reading it; it's clearly said how it is written in the quotes. That is clearly it's referring to Jesus, but another time it's referring to somebody else. So this can really lead to some, let's say, confusion. And I just want to give a few examples of that, just to show that, and then hopefully we can come to clarity on that. So the one I would like to use, let me just find it. Just give me a moment. Yes. Okay, this is actually a whole chapter, Matthew chapter 26. And I do have some couple of other references as well. again from the New Testament, just a few lines. So I will first read this one. This is Matthew chapter 26, the plot against Jesus. When Jesus had finished saying all these things, he said to his disciples, "As you know, Passover is 2 days away, and the Son of Man will be handed over to be crucified." Then the chief priests and the elders of the people assembled in the palace of the high priest, whose name is Caiaphas, and they schemed to arrest Jesus secretly and kill him. But not during the festival, they said, or there may be a riot among the people. While Jesus was in Bethany, in the home of Simon the leper, a woman came to him with an alabaster jar of a very expensive perfume, which she poured on his head as he was reclining at the table. When the disciples saw this, they were indignant. "Why this waste?" they asked. "This perfume could have been sold at a high price and the money given to the poor." Aware of this, Jesus said to them, "Why are you bothering this woman? She has done a beautiful thing to me. The poor you will always have with you, but you will not always have me. When she poured this perfume on my body, she did it to prepare me for burial. Truly I tell you, wherever this gospel is preached throughout the world, what she has done will also be told in memory of her." Then one of the 12, the one called Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests and asked, "What are you willing to give me if I deliver him over to you?" So they counted on him 30 pieces of silver. From then on, Judas watched for an opportunity to hand him over. On the first day of the festival of the unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus and asked, "Where do you want us to make preparations for you to eat the Passover?" He replied, "Go into the city to a certain man and tell him, 'The teacher says, my appointed time is near. I'm going to celebrate Passover with my disciples at your house.' So the disciples did as Jesus had directed them and prepared the Passover. When evening came, Jesus was reclining at the table with the 12. And while they were eating, he said, 'Truly I tell you, one of you will betray me.' They were very sad and began to say to him, one after the other, 'Surely you don't mean me, Lord?' Jesus replied, 'The one who has dipped his hand into the bowl with me will betray me. The Son of Man will go just as it is written about him. But woe to the man who betrays the Son of Man. It will be better for him if he had not been born.' Then Judas, the one who would betray him, said, 'Surely you don't mean me, Rabbi?' Jesus answered, 'You have said so.' While they were eating, Jesus took the bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and gave it to his disciples, saying, 'Take and eat. This is my body.' Then he took a cup, and when he had given thanks, he gave it to them, saying, 'Drink from it, all of you. This is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for forgiveness of sins. I tell you, I will not drink from this fruit of the vine from now on until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom.' When they had sung a hymn, they went to the Mount of Olives. Then Jesus told them, 'This very night you will all fall away on account of me. For it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I have risen, I will go ahead of you into Galilee.' Peter replied, 'Even if all fall away on account of you, I never will.' 'Truly I tell you,' Jesus answered, 'this very night, before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times. But Peter declared, 'Even if I have to die with you, I will never disown you.' And all the other disciples said the same. Then Jesus went with his disciples to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to them, 'Sit here while I go there and pray.' He took Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee along with him, and he began to be sorrowful and troubled. Then he said to them, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me." Going a little farther, he fell with his face to the ground and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will." Then he returned to his disciples and found them sleeping. "Couldn't you men keep watch with me for 1 hour?" he asked Peter. "Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak." He went away a second time and prayed, "My Father, if it is not possible for this cup to be taken away unless I drink it, may your will be done." When he came back, he found them again sleeping, because their eyes were heavy. So he left them and went away once more and prayed the third time, saying the same thing. Then he returned to the disciples and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? Look, the hour has come, and the Son of Man is delivered into the hands of the sinners. Rise, let us go. Here comes my betrayer." Because it's very long, so I'm gonna just jump a little bit. This is about Jesus being arrested and being in front of the Jews, the Sanhedrin, the Jewish high priest, you can say. So the high priest said to him, "I charge you under the oath by the living God. Tell us if you are the Messiah, the Son of God." "You have said so," Jesus replied. "But I say to all of you, from now on you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the Mighty One, coming on the clouds of heaven." Then the high priest tore his clothes and said, "He has spoken blasphemy. Why do we need more witnesses? Look, now you have heard the blasphemy." I'm going to stop there, Gregory. So there in this I read a long text there from Matthew chapter 26, and there are 3 places where Jesus referred himself to the as the Son of Man, which is quite clear because he's talking about himself, about being crucified. So this, except the last one, actually, which I'll just repeat. From now on, you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the Mighty One, coming on the clouds of heaven. So, Gregory, it seems here, like I said, something contradicting what we've been saying before, because there is the Son of God, Jesus, and the Son of Man, you can say, who is the will, how can I put it? Can I say manifestation of the will, of the Almighty? So how can we resolve this, you could say, this contradiction?
Well, it's a very long reading.
Yes.
And you yourself can already see, you said thrice, Christ asked them to keep watch. He came and they were sleeping. He rebuked them, went again, keep watch. He came, they were also sleeping. 3 times, you said. That means when you read into that, the Master, whom you yourself have declared that you will abide by him, stand with him, mere watching You are asleep. The sleepiness doesn't have to do basically with the eyes not open. That means deep within them, the spirit was not astir enough to perceive of the happenings in its entirety. So they were only able to perceive very little because the radiations that were streaming out from the master, were they themselves astir, they would have been able to pick of that radiation. But because they didn't bestir themselves enough, they became weary and slept. And that is what you found happening all through. When Christ then spoke, they then interpreted it that he said he was the Son of Man. But they were asleep. They didn't even understand him. So it is very clear, even Matthew turned so many things upside down. After all, they were only reporting. They who were asleep, who were not intuitive enough, who were not vigilant enough. And the master said, watch, vigilance, and pray. It means that in your watching, you are able to perceive of the streams and make use of these streams of radiation for your benefit and for the benefit of mankind. But what happened? They went to sleep. And it was that same wrong notion that spread all through, even when they went to the man who wanted to even jail him without understanding. So what you yourself have read out is not 100% consistent with the truth, with the facts, if examined using the intellect, if examined using the five senses of man. For after all, these five senses were not fully awake. If, on the other hand, one is to examine this through one's intuition, through one's spirit, then it becomes something else. That advice to watch and pray becomes more poignant, becomes the key. For if they were watching spiritually, all of them, they would not, no one would betray him. No one would interpret his words wrongly. So these readings must be taken with a grain of salt, at the same time must be examined spiritually, where there should be no contradiction or self-contradiction. Whatever Christ said, they say, oh, they said he is the Son of Man. But Christ never said he was the Son of Man. They said he said. And that is the problem. So it was the disciples themselves, in their lack of understanding, in their sleepiness, In their lack of watch, who made this statement? The Lord said this. So when anyone who reads this, particularly Matthew, should be checking for self-consistency. Christ cannot say, in one hand, I am the Son of the Almighty, and on the other hand, I am the Son of Man. Such contradictions, such inconsistency could not come from him. But for those who said they had, how could they hear when they were asleep? 3 times, not once. Or would they deny they were not asleep? So these are the questions many must ask themselves. For it's not a matter of belief. Every word must be examined. Every sentence must be examined. Not examined in an arbitrary manner, but examined in accordance with the laws of motion, the laws of creation, through which all came into existence. In this case, we cannot say that the Son of Man came into existence. No, that would be completely wrong. For the Son of Man has always been. It is the human personalities that came into existence. It is creation that came into existence. Before creation came into existence, the Son of Man is. Before creation came into existence, the Son of the Almighty is. Before creation came into existence, the power that animates creation is. Divinity always existed before creation. When it was permitted, let there be light. So these readings must be examined intuitively, must be examined spiritually, in order to assist many a personality who is very discerning to understand aright. The walk in the light of truth, the Grail message of ablution, points it out very clearly. The sequence of events. For only he himself or herself who dares to examine will find. But to examine here means to follow not only in deeds or in thoughts, but also in intuitions in accordance with the creative laws. Only then can you understand this event, biblical events, or any events in creation. Else, there will be a lack of understanding and a confusion which has grown out of that lack of understanding. For when these are read out, these ancient writings are read out, not one asks the right questions. They would say, oh, they are sacred. All the more so that whatever has come out of so-called science must be examined in accordance with the laws of creation. Whatever has come out from so-called religion must be examined in accordance with the laws of nature, of creation. Whatever has come out from the so-called philosophies must also be examined. Every aspect of activity must be examined in accordance with the laws of nature, of creation, above all, the divine laws, which divinity always existed before creation came into existence at all. Therefore, this confusion or this apparent confusion, Christ said, when those who are quoting Christ said, when they themselves were asleep, 3 times they reported, at least they were right, that they were asleep. And as long as the wrong interpretation is being perpetuated, it means that these people are still asleep. And those who perpetuate the wrong interpretation are still asleep. Only when they examine in accordance with the laws of creation are they in the process of waking up.
Thank you again, Gregory, for this explanation and clarification, about Jesus's words and how we, or his disciples, let's say, misunderstood. At times they understood, and at other times they also misunderstood some of Jesus' words. So thank you for that. I want to again remind the listeners, you're listening to Bless Radio. This is the Tuesday evening spiritual discussion program from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail message by Uprushing. And if you wish to know more about the Grail message or want to get a copy of the Grail message for yourself, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that, www.grail, G-R-A-I-L, message, MESSAGE.com. The topic we are discussing tonight is the coming of the Son of Man. If you have any questions or comments, you can contact us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And we are broadcasting on Bless Radio. Oh, sorry, before I say that, we also have, you can contact us through the chat box on the website where we are broadcasting, which is blessradio1, that's the number 1.com. Just go to the homepage and scroll down. You'll see a box called Bless Chat, and you can communicate with us there. So as I mentioned, we are broadcasting on Bless Radio 1, that's the number 1.com. You can also listen to us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box, Bless Radio 1, the number 1 again, space, live stream. That's for the live show. You can listen to the recording of this show the next day, also on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box, Bless Radio 1, that's the number 1 again, space, Grail message, space, the topic of the show, which tonight is the coming of the Son of Man. And of course, you can listen to recordings of our previous shows also on YouTube. Thirdly, we are broadcasting on Zeno, that's ZENO.FM /Bless Radio 1. Again, that's the number 1. Now, Gregory, I've got a number of questions from a listener, but I need to give a bit of context for it. So this I'm going to read now. Again, this is from the New Testament. This time is John chapter 14, which is, again, I know these are long readings, but I think it's, I'm going to try and see if I can make it a bit shorter this time. So let me just make sure I pick a point to begin. So, right. So this is Jesus talking to his disciples. As I said, John chapter 14, and I'm going to begin with verse 8. Philip saith unto him, Lord, show us, this is Philip talking to Jesus here. Philip saith unto him, Lord, show us the Father, and it sufficeth us. Jesus saith unto him, Have I been so long time with you, and yet hast thou not known me, Philip? He that hath seen me hath seen the Father. How sayest thou then, Show us the Father? Believest thou not that I am in the Father, and the Father in me? The words that I speak to you, I speak not of myself, but the Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. Believe me that I am in the Father, and the Father in me, or else believe me for the very work's sake. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do, shall he do also, and the greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. And whatsoever ye shall ask in my name, that will I do, that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If ye shall ask anything in my name, I will do it. If ye love me, keep my commandments. And I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another Comforter, that he may abide with you forever. Even the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it seeth him not, neither knoweth him. But ye know him, for he dwelleth with you, and shall be in you. I will not leave you comfortless. I will come to you. Yet a little while the world seeth me no more, but ye see me, because I live. Ye shall live also. At that day ye shall know that I am in the Father, and ye in me, and I in you. He that hath my commandments, and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me, and he that loveth me shall be loved by my Father, and I will love him, and will manifest myself to him. Judas saith unto him, not Iscariot, Lord, how is it that thou wilt manifest thyself unto us, and not unto the world? Jesus answered and said unto him, If a man love me, he will keep my words, and my Father will love him, and we will come unto him, and make our abode with him. He that loveth me not, keepeth not my sayings, and the word which ye hear is not mine, but the Father which sent me. These things I have spoken unto you, being yet present with you. But the Comforter, which is the Holy Ghost, whom the Father will send in my name, he shall teach you all things, and bring all things to your remembrance, whatsoever I have said unto you. Peace I leave with you, My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. You have heard now how I said unto you, I go away, and come again unto you. If ye loved me, you would rejoice, because I said, I go unto the Father, for my Father is greater than I. And now I have told you before it come to pass, that when it is come to pass, ye might believe. Hereafter I will not talk much with you, for the prince of this world cometh, and hath nothing in me. But that the world may know that I love the Father, as the Father gave me commandment, even so I do. Arise, let us go hence. So that was from John chapter 14, verses 8 to 31, which is the end of the chapter. Gregory, I read that because there's a prophecy of the coming of the Comforter there, the Holy Spirit, which is obviously not Jesus, very clear, very, very clear. And Jesus saying, I'm going away, but I'm going to send you the Holy Spirit, who will bring you into all truth. And let me just read that verse just again so that we can focus on it. Let me just make sure. But the Comforter, which is the Holy Ghost, whom the Father will send in my name, he shall teach you all things, and bring all things to your remembrance, whatsoever I have said unto you. So this is the prophecy of Jesus there about the Comforter and the Holy Ghost. And so the question the listener has put to me, or sentence rather, to the show, has a great portion of humanity lost their faith in the prophecies regarding the Comforter, the Spirit of Truth, as promised by Jesus Christ at the Last Supper, as described in the Bible? I'll just repeat that. So, has the great portion of humanity lost their faith in the prophecies regarding the Comforter, the Spirit of Truth, as promised by Jesus Christ?
Very simply, yes. For those who have examined intellectually, if at all they have examined, then they will have nothing to hold on to, because their examination is only based basically on intellectual interpretation. Should they venture to interpret these spiritually? Should they venture to interpret this intuitively? Then their spirits will be more mobile. And in that case, what they had mainly taken as beliefs will become conviction. It is good you yourself mentioned beliefs. Whereas what is required is the personal conviction, which comes only through rigorous investigation, not only in deeds, but also in thoughts and in one's intuition. Only in that way can one arrive at a conviction. Whereas belief can easily be swept aside. It has no firm foundation, which firm foundation can only arise from the movements of the Spirit. After all, Christ came and spoke more of spiritual things and how spirituality could be applied to the temporal things that is earthly. So unless that is examined spiritually, the human personality will not come to a conviction. The smallest puff of wind will sweep it away because it's a belief. There is no firm foundation. So, to repeat the question, have they lost? They never had it because they didn't examine it. It's like hearing a story. Because you've heard a story, you think you now believe it. Only that which is examined rigorously will bring benefit to the human personality. As long as there is no examination, it still remains a belief, which could be wrong. But as soon as this, what has been said to be belief, is examined in accordance with the living laws of creation, then that process builds up structures, which structures are firm enough. That alone is conviction.
Thanks very much, Gregory, for your answer there. There's a number of questions that the listener has sent, and I think you've already answered the second part of it, which is, if the humanity has failed or lost faith in the prophecy, then if so, why? So we have explained that. Now, there's another question they put is, can it be that those meant to convey this promised spirit of truth themselves did neither understand or perhaps even believe that such a grace from out of the hand of the Almighty would be fulfilled, or would only be fulfilled in a time scale thought out by the servant, not the master? So I just repeat that. Can it be that those meant to convey this promised spirit of truth themselves did neither understand or perhaps even believe that such a grace from out of the hand of the Almighty would be fulfilled, or would only be fulfilled in a time scale thought out by the servant, not the master?
Any understanding of a subject must have as its foundation, as its basis, intuitiveness. If that cannot be understood intuitively and examined intuitively, then that subject is not understood. As have been stressed again, every picture is a pointer. Every picture is a pointer to the real thing. Take the very simple picture of one has a photograph of yourself. That photograph is pointing to features of yourself, albeit partial visual form of yourself. That photograph maybe is seeing your face, your front, doesn't see your back. That photograph cannot even consider your character. So, that picture is only a pointer to part features of yourself. A picture which considers the whole is the intuition. It's the intuition that works in such a mobile fashion that is able to recognize the whole picture. What love is what the will of the Almighty is. So, the lack of examination, which is basically not putting into practice intuitively, in thoughts or in deed, what has been presented to them. So many who think they understand are only deceiving themselves. For when the facts now appear, they will deny it because they don't have any understanding. They cannot join the dots. Because even if the dots are there, they will reject it. They reject it because they do not understand. So, whoever needs to understand must examine, must weigh and examine. Weigh and examine in deeds, weigh and examine in thoughts, weigh and examine in one's intuition. Only then can the foundation be rigorous enough such that when the works of the Son of Man appear, which works are the volition of the Son of Man, the human personality, which is just awakening from its slumber, that human personality can resonate and draw strength from this work. Only then and only then will it say it understands the works of the Son of Man, which works is to elucidate, to explain creation, to explain the laws of nature, such that with the inner clarity, the human personality that is awakening from its slumber will come to a recognition. The cognitive objects have always been there. Look at nature, look at man. The objects have always been there. So, those objects, those points, which are always pointing, they've always been there. But have they come to a recognition? No. Because if they did, then they would have joined the points in deeds, in thoughts, and in intuition. Then there will be no confusion. Then the words of Christ are rightly understood. Then the confusion that leads to wars and destruction will vanish.
Thanks very much, Gregory, for this explanation and answer. And now this topic is really a great, really big topic, you can say, but our time is up, I'm afraid, on the show. So I hope, listeners, you have enjoyed the discussion, and also hopefully you've come to appreciate the necessary effort required to come to the right understanding of the coming of the Son of Man. It really is, there's a lot of, let's say, misunderstanding about it, and the necessary effort has to be put in to get the right conception and clarification about it. So I'd like to read, as usual, from the Grail message, the beginning of the foreword to the Grail message, which is titled, "For Your Guidance." The bandage falls, and belief becomes conviction. Liberation and redemption lie only in conviction. I am addressing earnest seekers only. They must be able and willing to examine this matter objectively. Religious fanatics and irresponsible enthusiasts may hold aloof, for they are detrimental to the truth. As for the malevolent, they shall find their sentence in the very words. The message will strike only those who still carry within them a spark of truth and the yearning to be true human beings. To all such it will become the shining light and staff. It will lead them unswervingly out of all the chaos of the present-day confusion. The following word does not bring a new religion, but is intended as the torch to help all serious listeners or readers find the right path, which leads them to the longed-for height. Only he who bestirs himself can advance spiritually. The fool who uses extraneous aids for this, in the form of ready-made opinions of others, only walks his path as if on crutches, while ignoring his own healthy limbs. But the moment he boldly uses all the abilities which lie dormant within him, awaiting his call to help in his ascent, he is employing the talent entrusted to him in accordance with his Creator's will, and will easily overcome all obstacles that seek to divert him. Therefore, awake. Genuine faith lies only in conviction, and conviction comes solely through an inflexible weighing and examining. See that you are truly alive in the wonderful creation of your God. Aprushin. Dear listeners, hope you've enjoyed the discussion tonight. Gregory, is there anything you'd like to say goodbye to the listeners?
Wishing all listeners a beautiful week.
Thank you. Same from me, listeners. We'll be back as usual next Tuesday with another topic.